What is up, everyone, and happy Monday to you. I'm feeling a little bit better. I gotta be honest. Tonight's Raw was pretty reassuring that at least things don't seem as catastrophic as we may have thought they were on Friday night. We still don't know what the hell they're doing. There is a big press conference on Thursday, a lot. I think everything is really going to be revealed there. They teased us a little more tonight. They drug things on further, which we figured they would since the press conference was Thursday. I didn't really feel like we were going to get any definitive answers as to what their plans are for WrestleMania tonight, but I was hoping to get some hints, and I think we got a lot of hints. I really do. I think that the fans, rightfully so, had a large amount of panic. You guys were my therapy for the last 3 weeks. For the past 3 days, excuse me, because I have been freaking out ever since Friday. And I've been so bummed out and disappointed and confused as to why WWE seems to be going in this direction when they've been telling this story with Cody all year. Then the Vince stuff hits and the CM Punk injury happens, and it felt like WWE panicked and changed a bunch of shit. Now it's looking like maybe they haven't after all, and maybe all of this was in fact done on purpose. From our perspective, on Friday night, WWE possibly made one of the biggest creative blunders in the company's history. And the fan backlash has been huge all weekend long with, that nobody wants The Rock. They're booing everything related to The Rock. It's built up a lot of fan support for Cody that it sounds like WWE might have even been banking on tonight. They were acknowledging the We Want Cody hashtag and trend. They are acknowledging the fans' response. And even Michael Cole throughout the night and even at the start of the main event on tonight's Raw said, will Cody face Roman? Will The Rock face Roman? Will Cody face Seth? It's all going to be answered this Thursday. So even WWE is acknowledging that we really don't know yet. And based on how tonight went, and some of the reports we've heard, over the last couple of days now that have been coming to light about WWE actually maybe kind of planning this thing. We're expecting that type of response from the crowd, although maybe they weren't expecting The Rock to be shit on quite as hard as he was, because the backlash on him was pretty bad to the point where some fans are taking it to even more extremes, wishing harm or illness or death on him or Roman or his fucking daughter, which is ridiculous. Don't even get me started on that. But I'm not even sure if WWE expected the backlash to be that great. That YouTube video from Friday of Rock coming out had 3 to 4 times more dislikes than likes. Fans are really getting behind Cody, and it sounds like this is something either a brilliant storyline that WWE is in the middle of giving us here, or they have fallen ass backwards into a brilliant storyline. Just about an hour and a half ago, Cody Rhodes tweeted, "I appreciate the passion, y'all. God bless you, but just trust me." And you know what, Mr. Cody Rhodes? I do trust you. I trust everything you say because you're the greatest person that's ever lived. There's nobody greater than you, not even in China. He's even better than your mom. Cody's the best. So I'm feeling okay because I thought tonight's Raw was good for starters. We're going to talk about all of it here in a minute. And based on what they set up and some of the seeds they're planting, I'm like, I'm starting to be now on the optimistic side. If you would ask me Friday night, I was thinking the whole fucking sky is falling and WWE, has made some catastrophic mistake because 3 weeks ago we thought the sky was the limit. WrestleMania 40 couldn't get here fast enough. And then on Friday night, we've all been panicking about it for the better part of a weekend. And now that we see tonight's Raw and kind of see where they're going, I'm like, there might actually be a way for this not to be completely, or not to be a complete failure. And I said a year ago, remember? I said one of my biggest issues with next year, this is before Punk came back and all of that. And I was saying this after WrestleMania 39. I said, one of my biggest fears about Cody not winning at WrestleMania 39 and his story being delayed until WrestleMania 40 is that it makes the situation quite predictable. You know what I mean? Because if he's going to win the Royal Rumble again and then go on to, beat Roman, you can see that coming a mile away. And do you want something that predictable? So even a year ago, I was saying, whatever they do next year, they should take Cody on a different winding road of adversity, perhaps, to get to the WrestleMania title shot. Now, we had it simplified. We just thought he wouldn't win the Rumble and win the Elimination Chamber. Sounds like WWE's got a way more elaborate plan than that, and one that actually involves The Rock. So here's just a couple of things for you guys to think about before we get going here. My my optimism for Cody still somehow facing Roman Reigns or some sort of swerve to happen on Thursday is pretty high based on a couple of things we saw tonight. Number one, the opening segment with Cody and Seth, which we'll talk about in a minute, where Seth deliberately asked for an answer, and that's when Drew McIntyre came out and interrupted it. And then in the main event, Cody was about to answer Seth, but Cody didn't answer in the main event either, and Michael Cole just said, we'll get all our answers on Thursday. So if WWE is quote-unquote pivoting on Friday away from Cody and Roman and is now going to do Roman and Rock and put Cody in the ring with Seth, as WWE has seen from the outrage from the fans on social media all weekend long, the fans don't really want that. The fans are going to shit on that, and the fans are not going to accept that very warmly. So then, if that's the case, what's the point on dragging out the announcement of Cody and Seth at this point? Might as well just get it over with. The fans are going to shit on it, whether it's here or Vegas or wherever you make that announcement. Why would you drag it out? It seemed like on Friday, Cody was stepping aside for The Rock. Granted, we all know nothing was announced officially, just going by what we were seeing visually. It appeared that he was stepping aside for The Rock, and now he's going to take Seth Rollins up on his offer so The Rock can face Roman Reigns. But he didn't give Rollins any answer tonight, and I would think that if he was going to face Seth, they just would have gotten that over with tonight, and then the presser on Thursday would have been about The Rock and Roman Reigns. Even on Friday night when Cody's leaving the ring, he's got that little smirk on his face. Granted, in the ring, he seemed bummed, but he had that smirk on his face when he was leaving. We've heard reports that WWE has, in fact, had these plans in place prior to the Royal Rumble, which means Cody went into that Rumble, winning it, and all of that, knowing what was going to go down. And maybe what's going to happen is really not what's going to happen. And I think there's a bunch of different things the fans are thinking of in their heads, like, did WWE leave enough wiggle room to where they could undo this if the fans rejected it? Or did they fall ass backwards into this? Or has this been planned out the whole time? Sounds like from the majority of the reports, and like I said the night that it happened, when Rock said, should I sit at the head of the table when he was right here in San Diego, I said they wouldn't say that if the match wasn't going to happen. There is no way they're going to tease this again, because a lot of people were like, oh, The Rock just said it. I'm like, they're not going to do that now. This is not 2015 anymore. They're not going to be in the business of deliberately alienating the audience, although that was before last Friday when we saw SmackDown. So I'm like, okay, Rock is saying it. Granted, we were worried right then about WrestleMania, but apparently that was in the cards right from the beginning of Rock being involved in this somehow, or facing Roman Reigns at WrestleMania. So now if we go into that presser on Thursday in Vegas, which WWE is making a big deal, they are opening it to the public. Sounds like they want a big audience for this. They're selling high-priced tickets to be a part of the media events and the social gatherings and all of that, and they're opening it to the public for free, I guess. And it's going to be this huge thing. So you can definitely shoot an angle there on Thursday, which it looks like they are planning to do. And I just feel like, based on what we saw tonight, that if they just announce that on Thursday that it's going to be Rock versus Roman Reigns and Cody versus Seth, then what did Cody mean about trust me? Then, why is Michael Cole and the announcers still not sure who's going to face who here if it's just going to be this? And there's a bunch of things they could do, at the presser. It could be Cody stepping up and saying, no, I want Roman. I made that clear. Or it could be The Rock. I mean, if The Rock wants to remain a babyface here, because otherwise Rock is on his way to being Vince McMahon 2.0. We can get an evil heel Rock authority figure in the future, which I actually wouldn't hate, but I don't think that's really what their intent is right now. So The Rock can be the ultimate babyface here and say, I'm going to step aside. And one big thing about this presser that we all have to think about is that, where is it? It's in Vegas. It's where I really think a Rock and Roman Reigns match should take place. About a week or so ago, I tweeted that if Rock and Roman Reigns takes place at WrestleMania 41, I know Minneapolis was kind of the front runner, but if that match is happening at 41, then that is a Miami or a Vegas market. Or LA, but they were just here. So I feel like Miami or Vegas would really be the only two appropriate cities for a match of the magnitude of Roman Reigns and The Rock. Roman and The Rock in Minneapolis, I'm sorry, it just doesn't have the same ring to it. So the fact that they're in Vegas on Thursday makes me wonder if The Rock and Roman Reigns are going to set up a match a year in advance, just like John Cena and The Rock did. Or if The Rock is going to announce that he's the special enforcer, or if he's going to be the special guest referee, and Cody is going to face Roman, and then after that is when they set up the WrestleMania 41 match. But with this presser being in Vegas, I'm like, why is it there? I mean, I know it's a big sports town, and this is where this type of shit happens, big boxing stuff, but I feel like the match needs to happen in Vegas. Why are they having the press conference in Vegas for Roman and Rock if WrestleMania is in Philadelphia? Does not compute. So what I'm hoping as a fan, because I live in Southern California and I can just drive to Vegas, I'm hoping that WrestleMania 41 is in Vegas. I really hope so. I hope that's the announcement on Thursday, or one of the announcements, because that is a great town for wrestling. I've been to 2 wrestling shows there, AEW and WWE, and it is so fun to go to a wrestling show in Vegas because everything's right there. It's so easy to meet up with fans and interact and hang out and go out and do stuff. The town never closes down. You don't have to worry about driving anywhere, taking Ubers. Well, maybe you have to take an Uber, but if you're staying on the Strip, you just walk everywhere. It's awesome. It's a party. That's where I want WrestleMania to be, because number one, I can go to it. And number two, it's really helpful for interacting with you guys. Last year, at WrestleMania 39, we did stuff in LA, but we had to drive there and meet up and stuff like that. If you're all just in one spot, it's so much more fun. So I'm really holding out hope that WrestleMania 41 is in Vegas, and part of this press conference is to announce that. I could be way off. It could be Minneapolis and whatever. And they might not announce anything at all for WrestleMania 41. I mean, it is a WrestleMania 40 press conference, but I do wonder why this press conference is not in Philadelphia. Don't you wonder that? And here's another question I must pose to you guys as people are filing in the chat here. By the way, nice audience. Thumbs up button while I'm flapping my gums would really be appreciated. Thank you so much. Here's another question I have for you. Elimination Chamber. A couple of questions I have for you, actually. Sami Zayn's sit-down interview tonight. What was that about? What was he talking about? Talked about last year's match with Roman Reigns at Elimination Chamber, how Triple H called him Rocky. You fought till the end, but you didn't quite make it. Well, there was a Rocky 2, wasn't there? And fans love Sami. He's beloved. I love Sami. We donate to his charity from time to time. He's a great human being. I mean, Cody and Sami, they just really don't get much better than those guys, So it really felt like Sami was maybe setting up. He talked about his WrestleMania main event last year. First time tag titles main evented WrestleMania. Or maybe it was Jay that said that tonight. I forgot. One of them said it. But the way that sit down was shot was like, okay, what is this about? What is going to happen, guys, at the Elimination Chamber? Tonight we saw women's qualifying matches, obviously. And Punk kind of let it slip in his injury promo that his plan was to go to Elimination Chamber and earn his title shot. So that was the original plan prior to the Punk injury, for the men's chamber to determine Seth's challenger. Punk got hurt. That's changed now. But on the women, if you notice tonight, they didn't do this for the men because there's nothing to do it for. You can't have qualifying matches for the men yet because what the fuck are you qualifying for? So they're only doing it for the women. So obviously it's probably going to be Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley at the end of this thing. So they're setting up the women's chamber right now. They have 2 options. Basically, if on Thursday they announce it's going to be Roman Reigns and The Rock and Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins, then what the fuck is the men's chamber for? It can only be for one thing, Logan's U.S. title. Because it's not going to be for Seth's title, because Cody's facing him. It's not going to be for Roman's title, because Rock's facing him. It's not going to be for Gunther's title, because Gunther can't travel to Australia. So that leaves Logan Paul. So if it's not Logan Paul, then you just don't have a men's match. What are you going to do? The winner gets a pack of Oreos? Like, I don't understand. So the fact that this chamber match is still probably going to happen, they have to delay it a week. They have to delay the qualifying matches until next week, because they couldn't do that tonight, because if they made the chamber tonight for a shot at Seth's title, then that gives away that Seth's not going to be facing Cody on Thursday when they announce that. So based on the chamber, they either have to leave the chamber off for the men, no men's chamber, which seems unlikely, or it's for Logan Paul's U.S. title. I don't think it's going to be for Logan Paul's U.S. title. It would be fine if it was. If he had to defend the title in that thing, I'm sure it would be great. I would actually be fine if it was that. I'm just not sure if it's going to be. It's not feeling like that. Is Logan even advertised for Elimination Chamber? Do y'all know? So what is the chamber match for? So the way that sounds to me is that Seth is still going to need a challenger for his championship, that something is going to happen on Thursday that is going to give Cody the match against Roman Reigns, whether it be The Rock stepping aside, Cody demanding that he faces Roman, or a triple threat. A lot of people have talked about the 2-night thing. I don't want to see that. That wouldn't be intriguing to me. You know, even Cody tonight in his tweet, don't worry, guys, trust me. Roman working both nights isn't that intriguing to me. That's not very exciting to me. I don't give a shit about that. I don't need him to main event both nights of WrestleMania. Don't need it. So I'm not feeling like it's going to be that. So I feel like at the presser, something's got to happen. Something has to happen. You know, because now Cody has got this, it's kind of like this yes movement type of thing going with the We Want Cody hashtags, little signs all over the crowd tonight. Lots of We Want Cody chants, lots of Rocky sucks chants. They booed the fuck out of the opening video package of last Friday's SmackDown when they went to the live crowd. You caught like 1 second of the final second of all the boos before Seth Rollins came out to call out Cody. So my instinct, it's been a long couple of days here. I've done a couple of long videos on it. By the way, welcome to all the new subscribers. We pulled in 500 or 600 just in the last 2 days. We've done a lot of talking about this. We've talked about every single scenario under the sun, including Cody's mom coming into the ring and hitting The Rock with a casserole. We've covered everything. So now that we saw what happened on Raw tonight, I got to tell you, I'm sitting here feeling a lot better than I was 72 hours ago. Go back and watch my video from Friday night. I literally titled it, "Is this really happening?" I'm like, what the fuck are they doing, man? Now it's like you're starting to maybe see the picture painted. I think that this wouldn't have been as scary to fans because, oh my God, the debating and the arguing online all weekend long was ridiculous. You guys wanted this match forever. Now you got it and you're complaining? No. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like, that's not what's happening. Yes, we all did want The Rock for years, and he didn't come in. And now, finally, when WWE actually has a cohesive story that they're telling, now he wants to come in and jump in on it, and then you're surprised that fans have a problem with this? Is that the argument we're making here? That's pathetic, man. It's fucking weak sauce. That is not the problem. It's not the match itself anybody has a problem with. It's not the match itself that I have a problem with, because I don't. I'm happy for The Rock to come back in whenever he wants and work. The problem is he's taking away from a story, or at least that's the way it was looking on Friday night. And now it's starting to appear that maybe that actually isn't the case after all. Rock has said he's a long gamer. He's a long gamer. What about hot-shotting a WrestleMania match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40, jumping in front of Cody Rhodes, who clearly wants that title, that championship, because of its connection to his dad? That's the one he wants. That's the opponent he wants. That's the fucking story. That's the easiest part of all of this to understand, actually. And some people still don't. And then Rock jumps in, says, nope, I'm going to face Roman instead in 2 months at WrestleMania. What about that screams long game to you? Nothing. It's short, weak-ass, tiny, limp, flaccid game. That's what that is. It's not a long game. It's a flaccid game. It's a shitty game. It's a weak game. It's a short game. It sucks. So that's why it feels to me more likely that, okay, those are the basic two scenarios. You guys decide in the chat, okay? Here's our two scenarios for Thursday. They're either just going to announce Rock and Roman Reigns and Cody and Seth. Here you go. These are the matches that are happening. Fuck you. Or they're going to do something kind of fun, and they're going to make Cody's match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania even more interesting than it would have been had he just won the Rumble and challenged. That's what I'm hoping for here. And in terms of everybody's like, Cody can wait to finish the story. Why can't The Rock wait? He's waited all this time. Motherfucker hadn't been in a ring in 10 years. He can wait one more year. Cody already had to wait from last year. Now you're asking him to wait again? And there's other factors at play too. If it's Rock and Roman Reigns beats him, again, not much of a long game strategy there, and certainly wouldn't be the beginning of something special or whatever The Rock said last year that they wanted to do here. Rock just coming in and losing one match to Roman seems unlikely. But if he did that, that means Roman would most likely surpass Hogan for third all time. It's not a record. Hogan doesn't have the record. Everybody talks about Hogan's record. There's no record to be had, but it is third all time. And it would put Roman Reigns in a category with really the two of the godfathers of WWE title lineage history. You know, Backlund and Bruno had those long runs each there in the 70s prior to Hogan coming in, and Backlund some of the 80s too. And to have kind of Hogan removed from that, you know, I could see maybe the attraction to that, but WWE doesn't also seem to have a problem with Hogan right now. He just voiced the Rumble intro. He's been on TV featured. It's not like he's in the shitter with them, you know, or he's on the outs with them, or this is fresh off his latest racist rant or fucking one of his friends' wives or whatever the hell he does in his spare time. So it's not like it's like that with him right now. WWE, as gross as many of us find Hogan, WWE seems to be okay with him. So it doesn't seem like, it's not like a Brock situation. Brock left, and WWE's first order of business was to make Randy Orton world champion, so he would now be the youngest champion ever. I don't think WWE really has much of that priority with Roman. It would be cool if Roman moved up to third all time, and Hogan held a title longer than, or Roman held a title longer than Hulk Hogan, because I remember Hogan's run. His first title run, get this, came to an end 36 years ago today. Was the match against Andre the Giant on NBC that 30 million people tuned in to watch. Some ridiculous number. I watched it with my parents, still have the original recording on VHS. And that title run was ended when I was 10, which means he held the championship for 40% of my life at that point. Do you hear that? That's incredible. So I'm not going to lie, even though a lot of people, Hogan's record, whatever, moving up to third all time for Roman would not be as insignificant as some people think. It's not a big deal to me. I don't really need to see it, to be honest. Trust me, I'd rather just have Cody win the title at WrestleMania 40 and call it a day. But if Roman did surpass Hogan, I would be like, oh, that's kind of cool. You know, this is a modern guy that's setting records in eras that kind of made it impossible for these records to be broken. You know what I mean? Because the business moves so fast. When I was a kid, it was slow as a fucking turtle. But now it's like, I see title change 3 times in a month, you know, during the Attitude Era. And so things moved a lot faster. Now, you know, we're in a little bit newer of an era, and Triple H as a booker seems to like these long title runs. Bianca's had a long run. Roman Reigns has been champion since the Reagan administration. Rhea Ripley's on a roll right now with hers. Seth Rollins has held his title for a long time. And, you know, really so his Judgment Day as well, if you really look at it. So I think with the tags. So it's a different era now, and the fact that that's even achievable and attainable is wild to me. So if Roman did that, then fine, you know, and if that were to happen, I wouldn't love it. But one thing I've said over and over and over again about Cody finishing his story, one alternative that I wouldn't shit my pants over, again, my vote is for WrestleMania 40 this year, not SummerSlam, not another show, not next year, you know, not in your cousin's backyard, none of that. This year at WrestleMania 40, there's only one potential alternative that I could tolerate, and that would be Cody winning in Madison Square Garden. I pitched that last year. There was a garden show right after Money in the Bank, remember? And I said, why doesn't Cody just win the fucking Money in the Bank? And then as soon as the match is over, grabs the mic and said, Roman, I'll see you this Friday on SmackDown in the Garden. Oh my God. Here, you got a chance to do it again. If you don't do it at WrestleMania 40, you could book an MSG show for that first SmackDown on the USA Network in October, which by then Roman would pass Hogan for third all time. And you could just book it right there and have Cody win the title on television, which would also be cool. But as a fan, I would prefer Cody to have his moment at WrestleMania, because WWE is treating him right now like he's the face of the company. So is the fans. So is, you know, the wrestling world. And I think he's the one that needs to be launched. So based on what we saw tonight, I'm optimistic that on Thursday, I'm not going to be disappointed. And I know I'm taking a big risk saying that, but I'm feeling kind of good right now. So I want to thank all of you, too, who hung out with me Friday night, Saturday for the podcast, even last night for the watch along. We've been talking a lot about this, and I've been talking my way through it with you guys. I mean, you've basically just been my shrink as I've been talking through this, because those of you who followed me for all these years, how often am I really super passionate about something? How often am I really, really disappointed or really, really mad? At the end of the day, I don't give a fuck hardly about anything. It takes a lot for me to care or even be invested. And I've really liked Cody, how he's been used since he came in and made the jump to WWE, and how he's gotten himself over, and how he's just turned into a true babyface hero pro wrestler that I actually like. I have actual love and investment for Cody. I haven't even felt this way about any wrestler since like Brett. So when I saw what happened to him on Friday, I'm like, that's bullshit. I think the whole world was getting behind this. Why would you take that away? Maybe they're not taking it away. Maybe that's the problem. Let's do our best here to do some shout outs here in the chat and say hello to people. Welcome everyone. If you would be so kind as to smash that thumbs up button for me. And if you are not a subscriber, please subscribe. We are on the road to 50,000. We might get there sooner than we think, as there's been a lot of people coming in since the Vince story broke and the Roman Reigns Rock story broke. So welcome to everyone. Thumbs up button, you know what to do. I'm going to do my best to hit some of the channel members here as well, or first, and hit the super chats. And then we will move on to what we saw on Raw tonight. And then we also have some wrestling news to get into, because there was a big story that broke kind of last night with the Stardom founder who's out. Rossi Ogawa is out of the company. He was kind of let go, and there's some scandalous things going on there. Just look at Tony Khan's Twitter timeline. It's full of GIFs. Or GIFs, or whatever they're called. So there's a little deal going on there. Also, Jacob Fatu is done with MLW. We might see him pop up in the bloodline, not sure. We'll talk maybe a little bit about Vengeance as well, and any other tidbits out there. Dijak's contract, I noticed. And anything else you guys want to talk about in the chat, we'll try to hit that later. And again, everyone, thank you so much for being here. Brandon McNeil, JJ Legg, good to see you. Joshua Aparicio, and Zach Palgett. Hit me with them emojis. What's up, guys? I see a lot of my other regulars in here. Good to see everybody. Can't shout them all out. The Juliet is here as well. We have Michael Cuomo. Lula Twins, it's a work. Yes, I know that. Lieutenant Dan voice. Michael Cuomo, like I said, always good to see you. Yeah, well, we'll probably circle back to some of that too, because Michael's bringing up The Rock's daughter. You know, you guys watch my last couple of podcasts and videos. You definitely know how I feel about the Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, Rock situation. Never once did I say a single ill word about The Rock, about Roman Reigns, about their family. I am one of the biggest Rock fans of all time. I'm one of the biggest Roman fans of all time. I'm not even mad at his title run. Everybody's got to fucking stick up their ass about how many times he defends his title. And I'm like, I like it. I like Ava Raine. I like Simone. She's great. I'm pulling for her. I'm pulling for her hard. You know what I mean? The whole, family there. I'm nothing but love. Nothing but love for Roman, nothing but love for Rock. It has nothing to do with them personally. This is the situation, the storyline that was really freaking me out that now I'm starting to feel a little better about. So I think people who did go out of their way to wish ill will towards these people, don't you feel stupid? You should. Alexander Stigl. Thank you so much for the $10. While wrestling is scripted, it gives us moments of hope and inspiration in our normal lives that has its own adversity. So Cody needs to beat Roman to lift own spirits by such an incredible moment. I agree. I really like that you can thumbs up the super chats now. That's cool. Remember last year, people who were, I guess, because it was a split audience. I thought Cody should have won last year, but I did not think it was catastrophic. I thought it was repairable, and I thought Cody could still finish his story. Not a big deal. I'm not so sure if I'm going to feel that way this year, but to the people who were okay with Cody losing last year and defended the decision to lose to Roman, their biggest reason for that was Cody didn't face enough adversity. Remember, that was like the word of the season, adversity. Well, he's facing a fuck ton of it now. So there should be, that should be no, you cannot use that as an argument anymore. He's certainly facing adversity, and now the toughest kind, because it's like coming from above, it seems like. But like I said, Thursday, I've got hope. I've got hope, y'all. Divine Ricks, it's good to see you as well. Divine, you might be right. Divine thinks this is a whole thing, a whole big story, and you think both Rock and Roman are going to put Cody over. That might be it. Maybe Cody challenges The Rock. Hey, if you want a shot at Roman, you got to go through me. because I want him. So if you want it, then maybe you have to beat me. I don't know how you work that, or if you make it a triple threat. And again, that's what we have seen at these 10-year milestone WrestleManias. 20 and 30 was the same thing, and very similar situations to where we are now. The two men in the triple threat with the babyface that won it have connection to each other, right? Triple H and Shawn and Benoit, Orton and Batista, and Bryan. And now it's the same thing. It's Rock and Roman with Cody. It's literally the same fucking thing. It feels a lot like that. So I'd be open to a triple threat, but Rock would just be in the way. Cody and The Rock would be in each other's way. That's kind of why I'm not sure if a triple threat works, because at this point, anything that has Cody winning the title at WrestleMania 40, I don't really give a fuck. Throw a monkey in there with the three of them and make it a fatal four-way with Rock, Roman, Cody, and a goddamn chimp. I don't care. Put an aardvark in there for all I care. Just get it done. But Cody being in that match, he's got no business being in the head of the table match. This is between these guys. And by the same token, The Rock has got no business being in the middle of Cody and Roman's story either, because of what happened last year. The only way The Rock really fits in the Cody and Roman saga is if he helps Cody out on the outside of the ring, like I've been pitching. I watched that live last year. I was in the audience to watch Solo jump his dumbass up there on the apron and spike Cody, and then he gets speared and gets pinned, and the fucking rubber duck flies in the ring. And oh my God, I don't want to see that again. So this time when Solo goes in for the spike, he's stopped by The Rock. Rock bottomed through the fucking table. Uppercut to Jimmy Uso. Clotheslined him into the crowd. Roman's all by himself. Cody hits him with 3 crossroads. 1, 2. Jacob Fatu runs in, attacks Cody, puts him down. Roman pins Cody, retains the title. Roman celebrates again. No, let's hope that doesn't happen. But I think Rock being involved, the best way to be involved is what I kind of pitched, if he were to be the one to cock block the bloodline, because the story of Roman has been the same. They've purposely, deliberately told that story in every single one of Roman's title defenses. The bloodline is there. You're facing not only Roman Reigns, but you're facing the whole goddamn clan of these fuckers. And there's no way to win. To the point where some Money in the Bank winners are saying, I'm not even fucking with that guy, So that's what they've been telling you. So what better way than to launch Cody is to get the fans so fed up with those same old Roman Reigns finishes. Same old story in those bloodline matches every time. But this time, The Rock is there to say no. He doesn't help Cody cheat or anything. He just stops the outside interference. That's all. He can do that in the form of being a referee. Skin-type striped tank top would look good on him, as it would me and all of you. Or enforcer, or I don't know, or just at WrestleMania. You can just do a run-in and save Cody's ass. I don't know. But that would be a much more fun way to book it. And then you get the celebration. Cody wins. Rock runs in the ring real quick, raises his hand, endorses him, leaves the ring, lets Cody have his moment. And Roman Reigns now, guess who he's going to blame? Cody? No, he's going to blame The Rock. And there you go. WrestleMania 41 is set. Doesn't that sound like, to you guys, like it fits better than Rock jumping in here now and saying, I'm going to face Roman Reigns at WrestleMania, and Cody, you just face Seth instead? Think of those two scenarios. Which one sounds better to you? I know which one sounds better to me. That's why I have to do something very dangerous, and that is trust WWE. At a time when the last thing we should be doing is trusting WWE, because this lawsuit and this federal investigation, is not just Vince McMahon. This names WWE. This names corporate officers, and there is still a disgusting stink at some point that's going to have to be washed out of that company. And we are not even anywhere close to beginning to deal with the fallout and consequences from that. That's behind the camera. That's a whole other crisis. With this crisis, I feel like one of the things that WWE's been doing really well since Vince has initially left is creative cohesiveness, getting stories over, getting wrestlers over, and having just an all-around different philosophy to their storytelling and to their presentation. And it's worked. It's worked. Shit has been great since Vince has left. This feels like a step back. This feels like it would be reverting back to those old ways. But why would they revert back to those old ways? Things have been going great. Why would they all of a sudden, unless the Vince stuff just made them completely panic and they don't know what the fuck's going on back there. But it seems like things have been pretty deliberate. They have plans. They know where they're going for the most part. They know what they're doing. There's thought going into this. They're not flying by the seat of their pants like they used to. They're not tearing up scripts and rewriting Raw 5 minutes before it goes live. They have their shit together. So why all of a sudden at the very end would you just not have your shit together and you would let The Rock come in and say, oh, here, that nice well-oiled machine that's just a purring, you can't even hear it running. Here's a giant-ass monkey wrench I'm going to toss in there. Why would we do that? For ego? Because Rock, everything is on The Rock's time. Oh, I decided I want to wrestle. Oh, he said he'll do it. Move everything out of the way for The Rock. We have to have this big box office attraction match because how good's that going to look on paper? Rock has 13 million followers. Cody has 1. Obviously, this is why you have to do this match. You sound like good mic work in 2010 when he's telling you to Google AJ Styles and AJ Lee to see who the bigger star is. Think about how stupid that guy was. So that is ridiculous that they would do that and chuck shit like that in there like The Rock and just gobble up all of their plans when there's already an internal fire going on in that company. There's already damaging things happening to their creative, like CM Punk getting injured, and you've got the former owner of the company that's probably going to die in prison. So there's a lot going on, and purposely imploding and blowing up your WrestleMania 40 plans for whatever reason, The Rock or whatever the fuck. These reports that, TKO felt like after the Punk injury that Rock needed to come in and save WrestleMania. Horseshit. WrestleMania's already sold out. Fans are going to lose their minds when Cody wins. Fucking half of them are going to be crying, for fuck's sake. WrestleMania doesn't need any help. It's fine, even with Punk's injury. Because Punk just came back. It's not like he's been there all year and they've been planning for him at WrestleMania and then he got injured. Oh my God, what are we going to do? We lost Punk. Up until a couple months ago, Punk wasn't even there. Punk was just a bonus. Punk's involvement and presence at WrestleMania was a bonus. That was extra. That just came at us. So we just lost our bonus. That's all. We still have our core, and we still have the plans that were originally in place. So all of this is pointing, for me anyway, all of this is pointing to on Thursday, we are going to get some variation of what we want. I don't know what that is, whether it's a triple threat, whether it's Rock wrestles both nights, shit, or Cody does, or whatever, or maybe there's a big unification. Hopefully, like I said, they set up WrestleMania 41 in Vegas because I want to go to that. I feel like whatever they do on Thursday, it'll fix what we're currently freaking out about right now, which means they'll give us 1 week of panic, or less than a week, 6 days of panic from Friday night to the press conference on Thursday, where it becomes apparent what their plan is going to be. I can't see us leaving Thursday without answers, right? Like we gotta know what's happening on Thursday. And they said that tonight on the show. So anyway, back to the shout outs. Barry MK, also good to see you in here always. And I'm going all the way down here. Duelist Abe has got $9.99 for us. Thank you, my friend. Do you think people will look back on this Roman Reigns as the next reign of terror? Think of all the big losses like Sammy, Cody last year. Lots of the same DQ finishes. Well, that's just what I talked about. That's the whole point. I think that they were doing those finishes on purpose. They were doing those finishes as a way to really build up Cody. I said that last year. Maybe this whole thing is a grand scheme just to make Cody as big of a star as possible. 48 hours ago, it looked like Cody was pushed aside and screwed over. Now it looks like he might be a bigger part of something. Like The Rock said, to quote The Rock, even bigger. And maybe all of this is designed to not only have Cody finish his story, but to come out of this an even bigger star than we thought he could have been. Because I already thought Cody's over like Rover. Those woes can only get so loud, but apparently they're going to get louder. And I thought that those type of finishes were designed to get to WrestleMania, and for when it finally doesn't work for whatever reason, and Cody wins, that will make that moment, Roman going down, so much more sweet for the fans that have been bothered by this frustration of Roman and the way he's been retaining his title for a year now, and this would be a very great moment for them. A true heel would lose, a true good guy would win, and it would be accepted by the majority of the fans. You wouldn't have half of them freaking out about Fruity Pebbles or whatnot, or just TV PG or anything like that. This is something that everybody got behind, liked, they delivered and presented and finished, key word there, the story brilliantly. Maybe it extended a little farther than some fans would have liked for their taste in terms of how many of these types of victories Roman was getting. But I've been saying for months, I've been saying since Money in the Bank, man, or Crown Jewel, I mean, and Clash at the Castle. I'm like, as long as this culminates with Roman, losing his title in an awesome way, I don't really care, So I think that Royal Rumble was the last time we're going to see that. Royal Rumble is the last time that you will see one of those bullshit victories, because most people expected that to go that way. It did, and I cannot foresee them doing that again. So now it's going to go a different way. I've always felt that. So a lot of the Reign of Terror comparisons, I think maybe that would be more true if Roman does retain at WrestleMania. If it is The Rock and Roman, and then Roman beats him and he carries that title into September and moves past Hogan for third all time, then Reign of Terror would be a fair comparison. Yes, absolutely. It might even be too long for my liking by that point. Like I said, the thought of Roman Reigns being third after Bruno and Backlund is cool, but not cool enough for me to want him to hang on to the title for another 8 months. No, thank you. Let's wrap this shit up, please. Let's see who else we got here. We haven't even really gotten into things yet. I just want to get all this love out. Mike Witt, what's up, dude? I'm glad you're here. I actually shouted you out the other day. I needed your attention. Thanks for the $2. Did Rocky Johnson and Dusty ever wrestle Curious? Yes. Would have been Florida, I guess, in the South somewhere. Had to have been. They've got run-ins. Oh, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest, but I can't imagine they wouldn't have, because they both wrestled in the South. They both wrestled in Florida. They were both from the same era. I'm trying to remember matches specifically in my head, but I can't. But there's Rocky Johnson and Dusty Rhodes matches, I would think has to exist. Has to exist. Maybe not, though. I don't know. But anyway, Mike, I was going to tell you, DM me on Twitter. Somebody gave me advice about how to get your old account unblocked for whatever reason. What I need to do is find one of your comments in the chat of an old video. So if there's an old watch along or something that your old account commented on, see if it's there. Send me a DM on Twitter. Tell me where to find it. And I think I might be able to go in there and unblock you from there. That was advice I got from Joe Cronin the other day. So I'm going to give that a shot. Keep that in mind. Dwayne Phillips, appreciate the $2 from you, my friend, as well. And anybody else who was here, thank you for being here. Welcome to the podcast, and welcome to your Monday Night Raw review for February 5th, 2024, the 36-year anniversary of the first night of my favorite championship belt, the Winged Eagle title. I named my Saturday podcast after that championship. It's a lame name, the Winged Eagle podcast, but I don't give a fuck because I love that belt. And I even got a toy version right on my head right here. So I'm a big Winged Eagle fan, and that title debuted 36 years ago today. What a memory, man. But anyway, we have got to talk about Raw. We just ran through, if you're just tuning in now, we just ran through all of the scenarios about Cody Rhodes and The Rock and Roman Reigns and the Thursday presser and what we could potentially see there and how that might be a announcement for WrestleMania 41. I'm really hoping there's an announcement for WrestleMania 41 in Vegas there. Sorry, Minneapolis, I love you, but I could drive right to Vegas for WrestleMania, and that would be fun to go to 2 out of 3 WrestleManias, as they were just here in LA last year. So we talked about every scenario under the sun, what they could do with Cody, what they might do, how I'm feeling a lot better than I was a couple of days ago after Friday night when we were up here talking a lot about this, and we were panicking, or at least I was panicking, and you guys were giving me a paper bag to breathe into. And now it's starting to look like, things might be all right. I don't know what the fuck they're doing. I have no idea what they're doing, but Cody seemed, he gave us that smirk on Friday. He just tweeted out about an hour before Raw went off the air that he appreciated the emotion. and the passion, but he said just to trust him. Like, I think they're up to something pretty nice here, and I think that I'm going to get my wish that I didn't even realize I was getting. A year ago, not a year ago, but after WrestleMania 39 last year, my biggest fear for this year was the predictability. The predictability of Cody winning the Rumble and then beating Roman Reigns. You should do more with it. Here they're doing it, and they're doing it not only, just giving Cody a little bit of a bumpy road to WrestleMania, but they're involving the biggest action star in the world, The Rock, with his box office name and draw. Maybe it's not him coming in to be selfish. Maybe he's coming in to help get Cody over, which is what The Rock should do. What does Kid Rock say? I'm not going to give you credit for taking care of your kids. It's what you should do. What do you want, a cookie? Like people who want credit for things they should be doing anyway. The Rock should be taking care of the next generation. He shouldn't be coming in and pulling a Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania 9 and taking a championship match. He should be grooming and getting ready, bad word, grooming, but getting ready, getting the next generation of superstars over to carry the company that now he sits on the board of into its next chapter. And making Cody right now, I compared him to John Cena in 2007 after the Chris Benoit murders, how they needed that white meat, clean baby face, and they had to pivot, didn't they? And all of a sudden, the blood went away, and it was no longer TV 14, and they started this Saturday morning show that reminded you of Mania. You were just wondering where Stephanie Wyand was. And it was getting a little cartoony, a little silly, and some of the fans were starting to get turned off by it, and started complaining, but it was the image WWE needed. They needed to clean that up. Everything was sex and blood and murder and, and miscarriages. And it was just like the worst smut content in the world during those great Attitude Era times. And when Benoit did what he did, it's like they had no choice but to just really have more of a respectable image. And that was the decision they made. This time around, I feel like they're in a much better position because Cody is kind of over. They're not making a sharp transition in their content, in terms of what you see. WWE's been pretty consistent there. They haven't had big dips in, violence or sex or anything like that. It's been pretty even, where back then that wasn't the case. So Cody has a lot of those 07 Cena vibes to me, which is why I think he is the right guy at the right time. You're not, what are you going to do? Have The Rock be the face of the company now? He's fucking 75 years old, man. It's got to be Cody. It's got to be Cody. Maybe Cody stacks Roman and Rock and wins the title. If they do a triple threat, I want him to stack them. Stack them bitches. Oh, that would be great. Anyway, let's talk about Monday Night Raw. It opens up with a recap package of last Friday's SmackDown. The fans were booing the shit out of this in the arena. And after they showed that debacle, Seth Rollins opened up the show. Man, I just love that him and Becky Lynch just share a closet. That's cute. That's really cute. There's always a fly when I do a stream with you guys. I don't know. But anyway, Seth comes out and he goes, hey, man, I saw what happened on Friday, and now I've got more questions than answers. So Cody Rhodes, get out here. I need to get your answer from you now. And calls out Cody. Cody comes out. He gets in the ring. He's a little bit kind of reserved looking. He was hyped up when he came out, but when he got in the ring, he kind of had that look on his face, like he was a little bit on the sad side. And there was loud Rocky sucks chants, and there was loud we want Cody chants. And props to Seth Rollins. That guy's a pro. He's a pro. No ego. He literally paused several times to let the crowd do their thing, And he starts to talk and he realizes there's chanting, we want Cody, and he stops and just lets them chant it, lets them build it. And he stopped a couple of times to let the crowd do that, which I really liked. And Rollins said that he really needs this match as well. He needs that match against Cody, and he puts Cody over and he says, I want to test myself against the best. This is the guy wearing the championship, don't forget, a guy that's had a hell of a run here and a multi-time champion, and quite frankly is way more decorated in WWE than Cody Rhodes is, calling Cody Rhodes the best to his face. I want to test myself against the best. You're the best. So I need to know, are you going to fight me at WrestleMania? And that's when Drew McIntyre comes out, and I'm like, I knew it. I was like, I knew they weren't going to give you the answer here. I feel like our answers are coming Thursday. So that was the first good sign of the night. Like I mentioned earlier, based on what we saw tonight, it's starting to feel like we might get some good news on Thursday, because if Cody was going to face Rollins, why do you need to wait until Thursday to announce that? That's going to be an announcement that the fans are going to be disappointed with. And we shouldn't be, because that's an awesome match on paper. But if they just wait until Thursday to announce that, the WWE already knows how the fans are going to react, because they've been reacting that way all weekend long. So there's no way they're going to hype a disappointment up now. They already know fans are pissed about that. What are they going to say? He'll go buy a $500 ticket to our media event, or come join in person for free and watch us piss off the universe? Nah, I don't buy it. So once McIntyre showed up, I'm like, oh, that's a good sign. That's a good sign, because when McIntyre showed up, that made me think that we're not going to get our answer tonight. Raw's going to go off the air, and we're still not going to have an answer of who's facing who. And to me, that was good news. I didn't want our answer tonight. I thought Thursday would be better for that anyway. So McIntyre comes out. He's got a shirt made. He's got that shirt. He's got that meme of, the dude. I don't even know what the original meme is, but you're standing over the grave and you're doing the peace sign, and it says CM Punk's WrestleMania match. So Drew is really leaning into that. And he says, I got this shirt made. He tells Seth, he goes, I've got your extra small in the back, which was funny. And he tells Cody to finish his story and to not let his dad down and all of that. And then Drew McIntyre wound up attacking Seth Rollins, and Cody Rhodes then fights him off, and his music plays, and we don't get an answer. Not that Cody couldn't have just picked up a mic right there and told us, but we didn't get Cody's answer. Drew came in and stopped it. And I don't know what's going on with Drew's contract, but, we still haven't gotten any official word, I don't think, unless I've just missed the story. But there was talk that his contract was up soon. And if he attacked CM Punk and stomped his arm, wouldn't that imply that he's re-signed? Because if he's starting a program with CM Punk and he intends on facing him when Punk is healthy, when he comes back, I don't think they would have started this and had Drew attack him like that if when Punk came back, Drew was now gone. Doesn't make sense. So Drew probably has either re-signed, or his contract is up long enough in advance for Punk to come back and beat him in like a loser leaves town match. So I feel like it's one of those two. Either way, Drew has been phenomenal. He's been doing the best work ever. I've really enjoyed him. And if they want to put him into the title picture at WrestleMania, I'm fine with that as well. Especially if we do get Cody and Roman, you could have some sort of multi-man match. You could throw Sammy and Drew and everybody in there if you wanted. But I also think that Drew and Sammy and guys like that are going to be in the Elimination Chamber once we get Thursday's answer. So we had that Raw Fatal 4-Way after that. SmackDown had one on Friday. Raw's Fatal 4-Way for the tag teams was New Day, the Creed Brothers, DIY, and Imperium. And DIY got the win there, so they will face... I forgot who won on Friday. I forgot which team won. They faced them. I guess for a shot to go to the Chamber to face Judgment Day for the title. Is that how that one works? I think. After that, we had our first Elimination Chamber qualifier for the women, Becky Lynch taking on Shayna Baszler. Now, they referenced Shayna Baszler's dominant performance back at the Elimination Chamber would have been, 2020, right? Where she eliminated everybody. And that was the last live audience pay-per-view before the pandemic hit, right? And then at WrestleMania that year in the Performance Center, Becky beat her. Leading up to that, they did the ear thing, right? She bit her ear off or something like that. Becky Lynch, so I thought it was cool they kind of brought that history up. Becky won in a really kind of sloppy looking finish, manhandle slam for the win. Didn't look very good. She wins, she qualifies, and it's looking like it's probably going to be Becky and Rhea, but we don't know for sure yet. We then get a Liv Morgan interview. She says she's coming for Rhea Ripley to get her revenge. She's been out of action for a long time, so she seems very serious about that. And then we cut backstage again, and I like this. We cut to to Adam Pearce's dressing room, and Drew McIntyre's there, and he's arguing with Drew, and he tells him that he's fining him, and he tells him not to wear that shirt again or he's going to be fined more. So he's pretty upset at McIntyre. He's very stressed out. And then Rhea Ripley's music starts playing while they're still in Pierce's office, and he's like, what the fuck? And they show Ripley coming out on the screen. He's like, oh crap. And so now he's got to go deal with this. I like that. That's a technique they haven't used. Like they haven't, I mean, they might have, but that's definitely, you can definitely tell that Kevin Dunn's not there anymore. There's a few things that they're doing. I'm like, oh, I like that. That's kind of interesting, or that's different, or they're at a different angle there, or that's something they've never shot before, or whatever. You're noticing little things like that. So Pierce then has to run out there because Ripley comes to the ring and she's pissed off. And she wants to rip Nia Jax's bloody head off, and Pierce comes out and says, you can't just come out here and start screaming and yelling, but I was fine with it because she looked awesome. And he said, you have got to chill out. I'll tell you what, you've got Nia Jax at the Chamber, which is the match that we thought we would get there. Nia Jax and Rhea Ripley will be the match for the title at the Chamber. And then Nia comes out. Rhea Ripley immediately attacks her, starts kicking her ass. Security comes in for the pull apart, and that's when Nia Jax is able to get a hold of Rhea Ripley and put her down. And, you know, now we're going to get that, and that'll be a pretty good win, I think, for Ripley in her hometown. And I think that's part of the reason why Nia Jax was, you know, beat Becky Lynch on TV to build her up for this match. So it makes sense. And I think WWE's used Nia Jax very well. So I'm glad she's getting this title match. She ain't going to win. There's no way she's going to win. But it's better use of Nia than she's really ever had there. So that's awesome. After that, we had one of those silly tag matches or variations that we get every week between these two factions. This time it's Tozawa and the remarkable Maxine taking on Ivar and what's her face? Max, who's she ripping off? Why can't I think of her name? Max something. I forgot her name now. But anyway, Valhalla. So the Vikings are out there. They win. They beat Tozawa and Maxine, and I did not pay attention to that match at all. Judgment Day was then backstage talking, and Dom comes in. He's like, Mommy's okay. She just needs some space. She'll be fine. And then in comes R-Truth super late. What's up, fam? After last week, got the shit beaten out of him. So he's here like, what's up, guys? And he thinks he's basically considering last week an initiation. He just thinks he got initiated. That's it. That's what happens when you join gangs or groups or whatever. So he feels like he's officially in Judgment Day. And they're all pissed at him, of course, and they walk off. The only one left is Priest. And he just kind of mentally gives up. He's just like, yeah, he's like, Truth, you know what? Just make yourself at home. Like R-Truth has broken them. He's the only person. Apparently that's all you ever needed to do. Judgment Day is such a tough faction, you know, but all you need to do is just be persistent. You know, that's how JD McDonough got in. If you don't remember, how long was he pestering the fuck out of them? And now you've got R-Truth to the point where he's even getting beaten up by them and he still keeps coming back. And now Priest just like, I give up, man. I submit. Fine. You're in. Jesus. So that's hysterical. That made me fucking laugh. Then we get JD McDonough versus The Miz. So Miz and R-Truth are buddies. So R-Truth does not know who his friends are. He thinks he's friends with The Miz and tag team partners with The Miz, but also in the Judgment Day. I think he also thinks he's in WCW. He's out there. JD and Miz are in the ring. He's trying to give JD his cut. JD's been trying to get his hands on some of this money, and Truth hasn't given him any. He tries to give him his cut in the middle of the match, and JD's like, sure, I'll take it. And he puts it down his trunks. That allows Miz to capitalize, hit him with the skull-crushing finale. And when he hit him with it, JD did a great bit here where the money was able just to fly up. It looked awesome. Hit him with the skull-crushing finale. He must have had his hands down his trunks and just flipped it out, but it looked good. Money goes flying everywhere. R-Truth gathers up the money and leaves with the Miz smiling. So I don't even know what the hell R-Truth is doing. I don't think anybody does. He is funny. A lot of Sammy and Bloodline vibes, only kind of like crazier, you know, like a crackhead version of that. And I think it's awesome because Judgment Day, they're a little more rougher around the edges perhaps than the Bloodline is. And and Truth is way crazier than Sami Zayn is. So I like all of this. It's so fun. And R-Truth is a motherfucking national goddamn treasure. Unreal. Braun Breaker was then backstage with Adam Pearce. Pearce is just, hey, look at this contract. He comes in. Somebody was in there with him. I think Imperium was. because Gunther's got his big celebration, so Kaiser was in there being all Kaiser-y. And then Breakker walks in, and Pierce has got the contract. All right, here's what we talked about, and he's laying it all out, so it doesn't, not sure if he's officially signed, but it does look like Braun Breakker will be on Raw. That's where I think he should be, Breakker to Raw. And I guess Raw also has Andrade, right? But I think Jade Cargill will go to SmackDown. This is what I think is going to happen there, because they went through the trouble of teasing you Bianca and Jade doing something at WrestleMania, either kicking ass together or facing each other. I think Jade might need to be on SmackDown for that. So then we have Gunther's big 600-day Intercontinental title celebration. So another milestone here for Gunther, which is incredible. Not only did he surpass the Honky Tonk Man's record, he just keeps on going. I mean, he shattered it at this point. When did he break the record? Like September? I think it was September, So that was 5 months ago. He's still running. I mean, at this point, he'll probably drop it at Mania to Braun Breakker, but then again, Braun Breakker beat Gunther in NXT. Maybe Gunther owes him this one back, or maybe you put Braun in the Elimination Chamber and he just eats everybody. That would be fun too. But I guess he'll be there to set up something with Gunther. But Gunther is out there to celebrate his 600 days, and that's when Jey Uso interrupts. And I like this. They might be setting this up for TV. I feel like Jey is pegged to face Jimmy. That's why I never really factor him in to a lot of my WrestleMania plans, because I was just kind of assuming he'd face Jimmy. But hell, maybe not. Maybe he's going to be in the mix here for Gunther. Gunther cannot work Elimination Chamber, so he will have no Intercontinental title defense there. So if they're setting a Jey and Gunther matchup, that'll probably be for TV. And I can already see what they're going to do here. What they're probably going to do is book Gunther versus Jey for the Intercontinental title in the main event of Raw. Jey Uso will have him beat, and Jimmy will come in and fuck him. And there you go, Jey and Jimmy, WrestleMania. That's my guess. So Jey comes out, and Gunther says he'll beat him so bad he'll wish for the days of when fans couldn't tell him and his brother apart. And I have to admit, I was one of those people for a while. The Imperium then attacks Jey, starts beating him down. The New Day comes in to make the save, so that segment was just whatever. But if I had to guess, they're setting up an Intercontinental title match on Raw with Jimmy interfering, Gunther retaining, and Jimmy and Jey set for Mania. How's my aim on that? Y'all think I got that right? The Kabukis were back. The Kabuki Warriors, man, the rare instance where the sequel is infinitely better than the original. I am loving them together as a tag team. And I hated them as a tag team originally when Paige was with them, and they literally seemed slapped together with no creative direction. They seem like a team now, and I love them. They're defending their titles tonight against my least favorite tag team in World Wrestling Federation history, Katana Chance and the other one. And luckily, the Kabukis won. Insane elbow from the top rope for the win. Thank God. After that, we got a sit-down interview with Sami Zayn where he talks about the match with Roman Reigns last year. We talked a lot about this earlier on as it related to the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns story, because they had to have aired this for a reason, I would think, and for Sami to kind of talk about his desire to deliver for the fans, and the comparisons to Rocky, how Triple H called him Rocky after he lost to Roman. He was Rocky and that was, Apollo, nothing to be ashamed of, but, there was a sequel to Rocky, right? So he's kind of got that vibe going on. I'm like, well, why would they do this? And also we had women's qualifying matches for the Chamber tonight, or a qualifying match, but no men's. So they're holding off on the men's because we don't know what the men's is going to be for yet. But you're kind of limited in your options there. The Chamber winner isn't going to challenge Roman. That belt is definitely going to be challenged for. So the winner of the Chamber is either going to challenge for Seth's title, which would mean Cody is going to challenge Roman, or it's got to be for Logan Paul's title because Gunther can't travel. So essentially, if Cody and Seth is what they're going to do at WrestleMania, then that eliminates 3 of the 4 championships doesn't it? Which means Logan Paul has to defend the U.S. title in the Chamber, and I do believe it was defended in the Chamber last year, right? So I could see that happening, but I guess maybe that's the contingency plan. Maybe that's what they're doing. But then what the fuck was the Sammy interview about? You know, it felt like they're setting up Sammy challenging or potentially getting a title shot at WrestleMania. That's what the interview felt like to me. So that's why I'm confident, or not that confident, but I'm feeling a little better about Thursday. You know, I have a feeling they're still going to do some variation of Cody and Roman, which is going to open Seth's title back up to be challenged for. Whatever the hell they do on Thursday, that will open it up. So the original plan was for the Chamber to challenge Seth. We know that. Punk kind of let that slip in his promo. So if they've changed that, the only other option is Logan. Do we know if Logan is booked for Chamber? Do we know if Logan can travel? I guess he probably can. So I think that is strong evidence that WWE is going to do something funky at that presser on Thursday. So that was interesting. And you know what? I mean, imagine this, guys. Just imagine, if you will, for a moment, please. What does Adam Cole say? Story time. How awesome I love fucking Sami Zayn. How awesome would it be for Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes to have a Benoit and Eddie moment at WrestleMania, man? You know, Sami could beat Seth Rollins on night one, or perhaps maybe not even that. Well, shit, if it's for the Chamber, then it would have to be. I said you could do a multi-man match on night one if you wanted to. But Sami Zayn winning the title would be amazing, and it would be a heartwarming moment, and it would be the absolute perfect moment to make Damian Priest the biggest motherfucking heel in the world if he came out and cashed in on Sami Zayn at the end of night one, and then Cody wins on night two. So you would like give Sami his moment, but take it away. I've never talked about Damian Priest really much when it comes to Roman's title, but you know, don't rule that out either in terms of him cashing in on that match. But I would like just to get that done on night one, so we don't have that hanging over our heads. If it's going to be Cody and Roman on night two, and we're really going to get that on Thursday, and they do something like that, I want that briefcase cashed in already by the time we get to that match, because I don't trust WWE to take Cody's moment away from him based on some of the crazy shit they've already done. So I just don't trust that. But, I would love for it to be Sammy. Going from, you know, the jackass match to the main event last year for the tags, and now the main event this year on night one for the world title. Sami Zayn can be Mr. Night One of WrestleMania. That would be cool. So it felt like they're kind of setting up for that, or at least setting up Sammy being a participant in the Elimination Chamber match in Perth. That's why that sit down made me think, see, they're definitely going to do a chamber match with the guys, and that really narrows down what that match can be for, unless, you know, you do it for money or something. Otherwise, it's Logan or Seth or nothing. So we'll find out. Main event time, Cody Rhodes taking on Shinsuke Nakamura. Texas bull rope match, baby. Obviously, Cody wasn't going to lose this. They shot this angle at a house show, or continued this angle at a house show. Cody and Nakamura felt like they kind of already blew this off, but Nakamura, they needed Cody to have one good main event here, I guess. And so Nakamura said, you know, he'll end things when he says so. And Cody had a house show match. I think they were in Tennessee or something a couple nights ago. Came through the curtain and got misted in the face by Nakamura and attacked. So they set up the main event tonight, Texas bull rope match. Good match, beat the hell out of each other. Cody was about to clobber Nakamura with the belt, or with the bell, the cowbell. And he's going to nail Nakamura, and he gets hit with the red mist right in the face, all over his face. He still fights through the mist and delivers a crossroads, but Nakamura kicks out. And then later he's in the corner and he's got Nakamura tied up a little bit with the bull rope, and he's able to lift up the rope and give him a wicked nut shot. And that allowed him, to hit the crossroads on Nakamura for the win. Cody won, loved it. After the match, Drew McIntyre hit the ring, attacked Cody Rhodes, and put him down and looks at the WrestleMania sign. So, man, I don't know. That kind of did scare me a little bit. I'm not going to lie. The ending there with McIntyre. And I'm like, okay, what are they setting up here? You know, is McIntyre and Sammy going to be in the chamber match, or are they going to defend Logan's title there? And then there's going to be like a multi-man match for Seth's title that might include all these guys, you know, like Sammy and Drew, and maybe even Cody, or maybe just Sammy and Drew. I don't know. But it made me a little worried because I feel like Cody, he's kind of got his fingers in both pies here. He's involved in the Roman and Rock stuff, clearly, and he is involved with all of these guys on Raw. So you really don't know like what's going to happen. I don't know if WWE has advertised him for SmackDown. Somebody told me they did. If he's advertised for SmackDown, doesn't that give away what they're doing? Again, I don't know if he is, but if he's advertised for SmackDown and then on Thursday they announce that he's going to face Seth Rollins for the championship, what the fuck does he have to be on SmackDown for? Why is he on SmackDown? He doesn't need to be there. We're going to be okay, guys. I think they're going to do something fun on Thursday. I'm feeling it. It doesn't make sense for it to go the other way. All of the things we've just laid out here, all these different scenarios. How in the world could they possibly just go with the worst one when there's all these other great things they could do? So I'm feeling all right. WWE's kind of, I think they're trying to subtly tell us that. I think they're telling us to calm down. There's no need to sabotage shows and nothing like that. You just got to be patient. And admittedly, I might have panicked a little bit there too, in terms of the creative stuff. And I got worried because it just smelled fishy to me. I didn't like the way it all went down, you know, and maybe it was just the bad timing of everything. I think with the Vince, you know, all just the horrific Vince news that we've been learning day by day, and the gnarlier details, and the more times you reread that lawsuit, how many fucked up things are actually in there and how much worse it's only going to get. And then you compound that with, you know, a CM Punk injury that really shook up their Mania plans, and a lot of uncertainty behind the scenes. And then when The Rock comes back so abruptly like that, even though he did tease us on January 1st, remember? Right here, San Diego, said head of the table. Oh shit. I said right there, I'm like, well, that match is happening then. It's happening. They wouldn't tease it if they wouldn't tease this. It's not like 2015 when they would just fuck with us for no reason. Now they're not going to do that. If Rock made that comment, then that means they have plans to do that match. And then Rock abruptly comes back and we hear all sorts of stories from WWE has planned this all along and it's a total work, to TKO board panicked and thought this was the best way to make money up front in the short term, even though doing this creatively could harm them in the long term, but they're doing it anyway. And that doesn't make any fucking sense. That doesn't compute either. That sounds fucking dumb if you ask me. I'm not even a business person and that sounds stupid. So none of it was really making sense. I'm like, oh my God, why are they in like panic mode? Why are they blowing up everything they work for? What's your motivation? That was my big problem back in the day within the Vince regimes and the, you know, the uninspiring creative, is that talent was just burning miles on their body for no reason. Taking bumps for no reason, matches that mean nothing, that nobody remembers, that people sleep through, don't watch, don't care about, aren't paying attention to, are formulaic, don't give enough time to. And it's just, you're putting the wrestlers through the wear and tear. If you're the women, you're putting them through 6 hours of makeup a day just to run out there, you know, do something stupid for 3 minutes and then get right back on the road and do it again. And it's meaningless, you know, and that is... those were horrible days, you know, and I don't ever want to return to that. So now it isn't like that anymore. And this really felt like something that would just be a colossal disappointment. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Like, what do you think they could do on Thursday? Do you have any ideas of like a specific way they could announce any change in plans here, or what is now perceived to be as plans all along? Maybe we'll never know, but it sounds like WWE might have been up to something here, and I panicked for nothing. Holy shit. What a surprise. Green P, yes, Cody is supposed to be on SmackDown. Okay, so if that's the case, why is Cody going to SmackDown? Unless they say something on Thursday that, hey, Rock, say, I thank you, Cody. Why don't you come to SmackDown? I'll personally thank you, or something like. Why would he have to be on SmackDown? Makes no sense. Yo, Jaquan, $5. John Cena, Cody Rhodes, Greg, stop Cody. I do not care about what you think about that. Nobody's comparing Cody Rhodes and John Cena. You have an obsession, my friend. You need to look up the term dick riding. Is really important. You need to know that because you are too obsessed, and I do not give a fuck what you think I think at all. I'm a grown man. Based on the way you word your shit, I'm way older than you. So shut up. Thanks for the $5. Stone Cold, thank you so much, man, for that 5 from you. Triple H just retweeted George Kittle talking about the match, Roman versus Cody with Rock as referee, which would have been what I've been pitching for weeks, which they could still do. They've left, wiggle room, so to speak, in how they've been telling this story, to where they could easily announce that on Thursday and it would be fine. And you could still do everything that I said. Now, if it turns out that that was the plan all along, they purposely planned for Cody to win the Rumble and then planned for The Rock to come back and act like he was taking the match. And they planned for the fans to be pissed and they planned for The Rock to be shit on. And then they planned to go to the press conference and announce that, nope, psych, Rock's just going to be the special guest referee. You're going to get your story after all. Sorry to freak you out. Why would you do that to us? That's emotional abuse. So I really have a hard time believing that too. I don't know what to believe. I can't tell if it's all been planned from the start or if it's a little bit of both. If they had some ideas or they've had two plans, contingency plans, a plan A and a plan B. And they've structured things in a way to where they could pivot to one or the other if crowd response dictated that. Maybe that's how deep the creative thinking goes now. Maybe I'm giving them way too much credit. Or maybe they were just smart enough to know, don't set anything in stone in case we have to do some sort of an abort. Or, if it's Triple H, if it's the board members and Rock that want this and Triple H is like, no, I've been working real hard all year getting these storylines and everything over. If you're going to come in here now and fuck that up, these fans are going to be pissed. These are my fans. I know them. I performed for them. I've been booking the shit forever. I know our audience. They will hate this and hate you. Still want to do that? Oh, you do? All right. Have fun. And when you come through the curtain on SmackDown, told you. So I don't know. I can't tell if... I don't really care, to be honest. It's not really my business or ours. It's backstage. I don't want chaos and confusion and really hard, irrational pivots in creative and things like that. That stuff's always going to bother me. But for the most part, if they're, providing good TV, I'm not going to question or get too mad about what they do. But this seems like such a catastrophic what the fuck. It's almost hard to believe. And maybe it's because it was never true to begin with. And at the end, we will wind up, in fact, getting Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I guess we'll find out. Anybody got what time this shit airs? Is there a way to watch this? Do we have to tune into Peacock or YouTube, or is this even being aired anywhere? It feels like if they're going to set up some big angle here, we need to be able to watch this. I don't recall tonight on Raw if they said anything about where we can catch it, because I kind of tune out the commentators. Mike Witt, appreciate 2 from you. I want Awesome Truth to win titles at WrestleMania. I don't. I would if there was like 2 sets of tag team titles and the tag team titles were meaningless, when Nicholas won them and shit. In the days of Nicholas, no problem, Mike. But I think the tag team titles are pretty strong. I still don't know what they're going to do with those in terms of ununifying them or whatnot, but I think they're solid championships with solid champions, and they're not really a joke anymore. WWE did a good job of getting those belts over, and they main evented last year's WrestleMania. I know Miz is a former WWE champion and everything, but Awesome Truth is too comedy, I think, for those titles in this era. All right, Dwayne Phil. All right, I think I'm catching up with most of these. Jaquan, all right, dude. Thanks for 5 more. Greg, I'm a grown man. Stop hating on Goat Cena. I don't hate on Goat Cena. What the fuck? Who the fuck are you? Oh my God. Was somebody educate our friend there that a lot of people hated me for my defense of Cena? I think you should seek help. 4 p.m. West Coast time. Okay, thank you for that, Chris, because I was trying to think about how that was going to factor in to me having to work that day, which I do. So I can probably come up and talk about it on Friday. I would really like to come up and talk about it on Thursday, but I think Friday will have to be the day that I come up and give you my thoughts on whatever is going on. Hopefully it's Cody and it's Roman. Ryan Snodgrass. That's an awesome name. It's an awesome name. I think Cody picks Roman. I hope you are right, Ryan. I'm really, really hoping that. Oh, man. Anyway, we got to get into some other stuff, too. We had some news. So yesterday, last night, kind of, Stardom announced that they have, Stardom and Bushiroad announced that they've terminated the contract of founder and executive producer Rossi Ogawa. And the announcement stated that Ogawa had been poaching talent during his time as the executive producer there. Tokyo Sports interviewed Stardom president, and this is what he had to say. Around December, we began to hear information that Mr. Ogawa was pulling people out of the company. We had always verbally told him, if you are doing that, please stop. If you are doing that, please stop. That's hilarious. And we would like to continue working together in the future, but we were able to confirm that he has continued to do so since then, so we have taken this action. The report notes that Ogawa had long expressed his intention to leave and that he expected to leave in March. However, he continued to recruit talent away from Stardom, and the parent company, Bushiroad, made the decision to terminate his contract. So there's a lot to this story here. I'm not, I don't follow Japanese wrestling that hard, but I am aware of, a lot of the stars there, and I do see a little bit of Stardom stuff. And there has been a lot of talk about this. I know Meltzer can probably offer some pretty good insight, but it sounds like, I wouldn't go as far as to call it like a Todd Gordon and ECW situation, but kind of, it seems like he was really pulling the strings there, and Kairi Sane coming back to the WWE probably is involved some way here as well, along with Julia, who has been rumored to be heading to WWE, and Rossi Ogawa is also rumored to be coming to WWE. Those are connected, and Tony Khan apparently was aware of this, went on a little tweet GIF spree last night. I was worried he was really going to lose his mind, but he wasn't. And, he kind of hinted at the fact that this guy definitely was, helping WWE, and he's glad that he's gone, and he's glad he got kicked out, because I think he was helping funnel and direct a lot of talent towards WWE. Maybe not necessarily blocking them from signing from AEW, but definitely helping WWE or encourage the talent to go sign there, with the intent of going to work in the company himself in the future. So none of this is, very good for business. And I guess they cut him loose. So we'll see. Now, I don't think with WWE, him coming in where he's, where he'll be fitting, if it's like a NXT thing, because there's been talk of NXT Europe. Of course, we know about that, and possibly maybe like an NXT Japan. And so that is a contact that would help build that. That's what a lot of people are referring to or insinuating there. So we'll see. It's a crazy story. I only kind of know the basics of it, but it's going to be fun to kind of read that as more details come out, because this is kind of scandalous and I like scandalous stuff. So we've had things and incidents like this in the past in wrestling, but this one's pretty interesting. But sounds like there was a little bit of chicanery going on back there with at Stardom with their executive producer, helping funnel talent towards WWE and not AEW. They have let Rossi Ogawa go and are moving on. And Rossi is heading off to WWE, apparently. Kairi Sane is already there, and apparently Julia is on her way. So a lot going on there, and drama in Stardom land. So that was a fun story. Jacob Fatu is officially done with MLW, wrapped up his last match taping that airs, I think, in a week or so. And a lot of people are wondering if he's WWE bound. I like him and his work. He's a little more exciting, I think, than Solo Sikoa. He's got a little bit of that Umaga in him, and he's pretty fucking beast in there. But I think he's had some issues too. Maybe legal issues. He's had that one charity scandal thing. I think he's had issues with showing up and whatnot. So I'm not sure if WWE really wants to bring him in unless that's all behind him and they feel comfortable and the family can vouch for him. They bring him in. It is a little scary that he's a free agent because we have WrestleMania coming up, and suppose Cody does get his match with Roman Reigns, and we think all of the other bloodline members are neutralized with Solo and Jimmy, and in comes Jacob Fatu to do the deed and take out Cody, and Roman retains again. I might have to quit watching wrestling. Dijak, who's been killing it in NXT, his contract is coming up soon, and he's not really gotten a full shake or fair shake on the main roster yet. So I'm wondering if he wants to bounce or if they're like, we'll put you back on the main roster. But he does not have bad pay-per-view matches. He doesn't have bad matches, period. He's a hell of a talent. I don't understand why he hasn't achieved bigger heights. He should have been way bigger of a star than someone like Baron Corbin, who apparently is getting high praise for his tag team with Braun Breaker. And they won, right? Did they win the Dusty Classic? Or they lost it? I forgot. I don't know what the hell happened at Vengeance the other night. We were watching it, or last night, but we were also watching our classic pay-per-view. So that's kind of all I had written down in terms of wrestling news. We thoroughly, for the most part, went through Raw, and we really dove into the Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns and Seth Rollins and WrestleMania 40 and what's going to happen with The Rock and what's going to happen this Thursday. So you guys let me know what you think we're going to be seeing on Thursday. Mike Witt has $2 and says, you just want R-Truth to be prominent on the Mania card. I'm down with that. I love R-Truth. Oh my God. Sorry, just reading some of these comments here and laughing at them. I even posted on social media about that today. I'm like, it's just opinions. They're just opinions. We all have opinions. There's nothing fact. It's a fact. It's a fact. Nah, it's opinion. And it's opinion, and you know it. Hey, let me just get rid of Jaquan. I'm tired of him. All right. Simply the Best says, if Cody doesn't take Seth after Seth been begging him for 2 weeks to face him and Roman trashed him and losing 3-0 to Cody, he's just going to be the biggest joke ever. If Cody doesn't take Seth, I don't know why people, I mean, I'm fine with people who would want that match. I don't know why anybody would prefer Cody and Seth this year. I think it would be more fun for Cody and Seth next year. I even talked about this last night on social media, just like fantasy booking stuff. It would be cool if like Seth Rollins gave Cody his blessing even. You know what? Go beat that motherfucker. You and I, we got a date at WrestleMania 41, and they booked it like a year in advance. Because at some point, we do have to get that Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes match. One of the reasons I don't want it this year is because you can't really beat either guy in this situation, which is why I think it would be an automatic Damian Priest cash-in, because Cody Rhodes, first of all, you can't beat him at WrestleMania. Not right now. That would pissed. That would be Rumble 15. That would be Royal Rumble 15 if you did that. Even if he lost to Seth Rollins, who's a babyface. Seth Rollins would be Rey Mysterio, number 30 in the Rumble that year. It would be, the fans would just be like, you got to be fucking kidding me. Now you're going to beat him on top of that? So they would lose their minds. So you can't have Cody lose, but then again, you can't have Cody put down Seth 4 times in a row. What is Seth? Chopped liver? I've always said that at the next time Cody and Seth get in the ring, Seth should be the one to win. Seth should also beat CM Punk whenever they wrestle. So Cody has got 3-0 on him. So I'm not ready to see Cody and Seth right now. What the better story would be is for Seth Rollins to beat Cody for the title. You know what I mean? Wouldn't that make more sense than Cody beating Seth? Because he's 3-0 against another top star. That doesn't just happen. And you're not going to beat him 4 times in a row, unless Seth has told WWE he's leaving. Because apparently his contract might be up this year, but he'll re-sign. He's WWE for life. So's Becky. So Cody and Rollins meeting another year from now, because hypothetically, fantasy booking, Seth Rollins is probably going to drop his title soon, probably at Mania before or after or something like that. Or not before, but Mania or after for sure. But Cody is going to win the title. And if Cody does win the title, unless they do a draft and they keep him on Raw or something, and they switch the titles, he's going to be on SmackDown now as the champion. So he's not even going to be on the same brand as Seth Rollins. And maybe on TV, they need to compensate for that on Raw. Hey, you just lost your biggest star. He's the champion now. So what are you going to give Raw in return? There might have to be a trade or a draft where you even out the rosters more again. So if Cody goes to SmackDown and Rollins stays on Raw, then you can have Cody hold the title for a year. And then maybe Seth Rollins wins the Royal Rumble next year and says, I challenge Cody. And now you've got Cody 3-0 champion going in against challenger Seth Rollins, and Seth gets his win back. And that one win evens out the 3 that he took from Cody, because yes, one of them was at WrestleMania, but this one is for the title at WrestleMania, and that's a much bigger deal. So WrestleMania 41, night 1 main event, Cody Rhodes versus Seth Rollins for the WWE Championship. Night 2 main event, Roman Reigns versus The Rock, Vegas. That's what you do. That's what you do. Mike Witt, you had 2 from me earlier. I'm scrolling through the comments here to see if I missed any supers and whatnot. Appreciate that too. I'm thinking Orton versus Solo at Chamber or Mania. Yeah, I'm wondering what Randy Orton is going to do as well. And if he'll have a chance to get into the Chamber match if they make it Raw and SmackDown people. Maybe they want to give everybody a chance. Everybody had a chance for the Rumble to get that title shot. So maybe you get some SmackDown guys. It's 3-3 for the Chamber. Maybe it's Sammy, McIntyre, and maybe Jay against 3 from SmackDown. And then that determines Seth's challenger, but Randy Orton, yeah, I guess Solo's probably makes the most sense for the short term. So if he did it at Chamber, what would Orton do at Mania then, If they could get, Orton would be good. This would be a good year for some sort of maybe in another attraction match, or maybe a big opponent for him. I've always wanted to see Orton and Rock. Why can't we just do that? Why can't we do Randy Orton and The Rock? That would be fun if they announced all that at WrestleMania, or I'm sorry, on Thursday. And The Rock is like, I'm going to be the referee for Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns. I'm stepping aside. Roman, I'm going to face you next year at WrestleMania 41 right here in Vegas. Seth Rollins will face the winner of the Elimination Chamber match. And The Rock, he's going to have a tune-up for his match with you next year on night 1. And we're going to make a dream match, and I'm going to face Randy Orton. And out comes Randy Orton. They're not going to do that. They're not going to do that. Juliet, did I thank you for gifting that membership to Brian Spencer? If I didn't, thank you. Everybody congratulate Jaquan, the only person to get blocked after giving me $10. Oh, yeah, that's right. Thank you for that earlier. Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate won that Fatal 4-Way on SmackDown on Friday, and tonight DIY won. So that's a whole lot of NXT right there going on. It's going to be Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate against DIY. I don't know when that match takes place. Does it take place at the Elimination Chamber, or when do they do it? I don't even know. I don't listen to the commentators. Randy Orton and John Cena never wrestled at Mania before. They didn't? Oh, yes, yeah, I guess maybe you're right. That 3-way that Cena won the title, what year was that? Orton wasn't involved in that? Did he win the title at WrestleMania 25? Do I have that right? Wasn't it like a 3-way with like Big Show? I thought it was Randy Orton, but I guess they've never wrestled one-on-one. Or if it was somebody else. Cena and Orton now? I would rather, Mike, see John Cena and Randy Orton team up than face each other. I think Randy Orton versus John Cena, or Randy Orton and John Cena, versus Finn Balor and Damian Priest on night one would be great. Because you could take the titles off of Balor and Priest, and then Priest can just cash in at the end of the night. That would be cool. John Cena and Randy Orton winning the tag team titles. I'd much prefer that than, and you can think of a name for the team, Living Legends or, something like that, or the Immovable Icons, or I don't know. Come up with names for them. The Fruity Pebble Viper, I don't know. The Fruity Viper, the Fruity Vipers. There you go. That's what they should be called. Something like that. I think that's great. See, that's why we hang out and chat at the end of podcasts, because we can fantasy book fun stuff. John Cena and Punk never had a Mania match either. That's okay, though. They don't need one. That Money in the Bank match will live in infamy. There's no reason to ever recreate that, although Vince was a big part of the ending of that. And it's going to be weird. That's another thing we haven't talked about much tonight is Vince McMahon. And how, when all of the dust settles here, and correct me if I'm wrong, have they taken him out of the intro? Because I think you could hear Vince's voice say, "Welcome to WrestleMania" or something in the intro, right? Is he out of that? And if he's not, they probably will start removing him. And then obviously they have more immediate things to deal with in terms of cleaning up the mess internally and moving past all of this stuff. But it all has to come out first, and it all has to happen first. And then we have to see if charges are brought on Vince, because if this goes to Discovery, I just think that he's going to die in jail. I really do. I think we've only heard the beginning, and it's just going to be fucking madness, but when all of the dust settles, is WWE going to want to digitally remove Vince McMahon from as much of the content as they can? Well, I guess they're not going to remove him. They didn't remove a murderer. Okay. Chris Benoit is in their content, but they might give Vince the Chris Benoit treatment. And one of the things they do with Chris Benoit, even though you can see all of Benoit's matches on Peacock and whatnot, they never talk about or mention anything that he had anything to do with in terms of celebrating their history, even if it's indirectly, even if he's just the opponent of, say, Randy Orton. They barely ever talk about him becoming the youngest world heavyweight champion because Benoit was in the ring. They show a couple of highlights here and there. You got some glimpses, but they're just like quick. They don't talk about that match much, and they don't talk about anything related to Chris Benoit much. And I think that they're going to have no choice but to do the same with Vince. They can't celebrate him. They can't put him in the Hall of Fame. Are you fucking kidding me? Vince always said he doesn't want to go in the Hall of Fame. You got your wish, Vince, because there's no way you can. You are going to be disgraced. You're disgraced. So it sucks, because think about what a big part Vince was of so many different parts of WWE's history. Those early days, he was before he even took it over from Vince, he was always like the announcer once they started hitting TV, and then you saw him all over the place when he bought the company and took it national. He was the face, and then he was the announcer, and he told the stories the way he wanted them told. Everything was what a maneuver. Every single pin attempt was a 3 count. Oh my God. You know, he had his very deliberate, distinct, crazy, wacky style. And his voice became synonymous with WWE. Welcome to WrestleMania. The shot of him welcoming everybody to WrestleMania 3, and that shot, you know, trying to never be able to show him. There's going to have to, it just sucks. Like, I don't even know how they're going to do that. You know, that means Stone Cold Steve Austin, I guess, just had a completely unobstructed path to the title at WrestleMania 14, faced no adversity whatsoever in his title run, and had a nice, smooth run of it. And that was it. That's all that ever happened. There's just so much of Vince that, you know, with Benoit, it was just like one guy that had matches. This is like the head of the company. This guy opened and closed a lot of Monday Night Raws, you know, in the ring, famous segments, even had pay-per-view matches, and has won championships and had WrestleMania moments and all of this. He just fucking spread everywhere, this disgusting fuck. And that just sucks because WWE really does like to celebrate their history. It's important to them. It's important to us as fans too, to go back and be nostalgic for shows. We do that every single Sunday here on the YouTube channel. We watch a classic pay-per-view together, and we've been doing it for years. And a lot of what we watch is, you know, we've watched lots of Benoit matches, and, you know, we're going to go on to watch lots of Vince moments in the future, I'm sure. But, you know, now it's like, you know, you're always going to remember or be reminded of what a monster he is. You're always going to remember and be reminded of the lives he destroyed every time you see his stupid face in any video played back. And it's going to be impossible to ever get that out of our minds. And, you know, in the grand scheme of things, that's not really important, but from a fan content consumption, you know, perspective, it is something you have to think about, that a lot of that is also ruined, which could also have a negative effect on business. You know, WWE can't really, you know, promote or sell on their past content anymore. They're going to have to, you know, and it's not like they can just move away from one chunk of their history, because Vince is in every chunk of their history, all of it. So he has a presence everywhere. He was on TV less than a year ago, out in the ring, dancing around. Took a stunner less than a year ago. Had a WrestleMania match less than a year ago. He is, or no, 2 years ago. I'm sorry, not last year. It was 2 years ago. So he's still been around even in recent history. There's not a time that you can really go to in modern WWE prior to 1982 where you're not going to see Vince somewhere. Those wrestling challenge shows were Bobby and Gorilla. Primetime was Bobby and Gorilla. WrestleMania's, the first few, was Jesse and Gorilla. You can watch some shows without Vince, but for the most part, there ain't no avoiding Vince. He is, for the most part, has some sort of influence on 80% of their shows. You know, either being mentioned or on commentary or in an angle or in a wrestling match or something. You see his face at least once. And that's crazy, and that's going to be a hard thing to ever ignore in the company, you know? No, we're not. This isn't going to turn into, well, we're just going to start sucking Vince's cock. Shut up. It's not about that. I'm just saying WWE, this is, you know, the corporate damage control they're going to have to do. It doesn't matter what you think of Vince or anything. This guy is a monster, and the company wants to completely disassociate with him. And my question only is, how far are they going to go with it? And when Raw hits its next milestone, when we have the 40th anniversary of Raw, or the, what are we at now? The 35th anniversary or whatever's next. And they want to run a big highlight package of all the great moments in Raw. Do they leave them in or not? Doesn't matter what the fans want. You're not doing it. They're doing it. So what do you think they're going to do? Leave them in or not? I don't know. Maybe they take them out short term and then slowly creep back in the mentions here or there to where they're not necessarily celebrating the guy, but they're not pretending he doesn't exist, because pretending he doesn't exist is going to be really hard to do. I don't know how you handle that. I'm glad I don't work there and I make any of these decisions because that would suck. Yes, we all know that he can't be erased. Nobody's that we know that, of course. I swear, I think sometimes you guys think I have a beef and cheddar for a head. I know that. You ain't got no legs, Lieutenant Dan. Yes, I know that. I swear, I say that 100 times a fucking day sometimes. Yeah, I get it. I'm not dumb. You can't erase him. He can't be erased. I'm just saying how they're going to handle future mentions of him or how they reference history when he's involved. That's all I'm talking about here. That's it. Not hard to understand at all. Very simple thoughts. Well, Mike, not only is Mar the Heart telling everyone, I told you he was a scumbag, I think a lot of women are. And I think there have been a lot of women who have attempted to say these things before and have either been silenced or ignored or whatever. And I think a lot of those details are going to be revealed. Because when you are under federal investigation, that is no joke. When federal authorities come to your house and say, give me your phone and we're going to search through all of your shit, you are fucked. And I doubt Vince was very careful. You know, it doesn't sound like he was very careful. Sounds like his phone was filled with filthy shit. And filthy shit that apparently he shared with people. It's not like he deleted it in time and nothing is going to be found. The federal authorities have naked pictures of Vince McMahon. They do. They got naked pictures of him with God knows what spread all over him. You know they do. And it's just going to be horrific. It's going to be horrific. This guy, oh my God. So that's like a serious deal. And that's going to go down as being the biggest scandal in WWE's history. And I said that in the last podcast. I'm like, can you believe that we even can have a scandal big enough to say this is the biggest scandal in WWE history? Because they've had some whoppers, man, monsters that have involved death and people dying and shit, multiple murders. And still it gets worse, you know, because, you know, I think the effect that it is going to have on the company might even be greater than Benoit and Owen. I actually think it will be because it's right at the top. It's right at the top and it trickled and the shit dripped on everybody and stunk up the whole place now. And it's not like it's one kind of chunk of it or a mass or a tumor you can just kind of remove. You know, this is the brain of the operation is what is infected. And that's going to have some damning consequences. So I think that was all tied in to part of my panic on Friday is because it felt like WWE was in panic mode. It felt like wheels were falling off. All these great plans, they were starting to second guess themselves. And also maybe something was going on behind the scenes about Vince that we don't know. Maybe they know of another big shoe about to drop. And this is the best way to distract from that because a lot of people talked about Cody and Rock all weekend. That's all I talked about. Frankly, it was a nice break, but you saw people on social media saying things like, boy, WWE fooled all you guys. They got you guys all talking about Vince and now you've forgotten. I'm like, nobody's forgotten about it. One guy accused me of getting all angry about this, but not giving a shit about Vince McMahon. I'm like, well, dipshit, you just read this one post. Just scroll down a little. It's all there. And if you would like, you can visit my YouTube channel where I currently have 4, count them, videos on Vince McMahon. Has nothing to do with not caring or forgetting about it or anything like that. I was actually happy that I had something wrestling related to talk about and wrestling related to get passionate about because I needed the fucking break, man. That's tough to process a whole week of details like that. We all deserved a break. So it was actually kind of nice, even though I was still panicking in another way, to be panicking more about stuff that's meaningless. It's a wrestling storyline. So I think people were doing a lot of assumption. Oh, people are just don't care about that now. No, it's not that we don't care. We're just fucking sick of talking about it. It's been a week of this shit. We're just taking a break. There's something new to talk about it. There's something new to talk about. Was this a strategy by WWE to get fans distracted from the Vince McMahon situation? I think that's entirely possible. Yes, I do. But I also think that WWE would be fools to think that just doing something like this would be enough to distract away from that situation. That is a huge story. Not only is Vince implemented, but the company is implemented as well. And there could be catastrophic consequences, and there's going to be even more grisly details that are going to come out. This story hasn't even gotten started yet. So any distraction that this is going to cause is going to be extremely temporary because this isn't going away. And this is a situation that they need to address properly next time it's asked, and we've got this big press thing on Thursday that's going to probably shoot an angle for WrestleMania 40 and potentially WrestleMania 41 if I get my way. And somewhere in there, questions are going to have to be taken, and Triple H is going to have to do a better job this time because he embarrassed himself in that Rumble scrum. And why they would even do a press conference after the Royal Rumble anyway, and take questions about that is beyond me, because 2 days before the event, I said, they're probably just going to issue a statement at the beginning. We cannot legally talk about anything. We're sorry. We know you have questions about that. We know it's a mess. We don't condone anything that was alleged in the lawsuit or the behavior of the former owner, Vince McMahon. And we're going to do our best to deal with it and cooperate with authorities and whatever. And that's all I'm legally allowed to say. And I sincerely apologize for that. But if you'd like to ask questions about the Royal Rumble tonight, I'd love to answer that. But unfortunately, that's all we can really say about the situation. And if they would have at least done that, it still would have been frustrating to a lot of people. Oh, they don't want to answer anything or whatever. It's a cop out or whatnot. You'd get all those comments, sure. But it would be a lot better than the way Triple H kind of almost downplayed, extremely serious allegations. Hey, how do you feel about Vince McMahon completely ruining this woman's life? You see, I just like to talk about the positive things. That sounds shitty. Sounds really shitty. So I think next time around, Triple H needs to have a better response prepared, because how does TKO even send him out there without some sort of, is that what they wanted him to say? Just deflect and say, oh, I just want to talk about positive things. Nobody in that corporate world with all that business training and all their education thought that would be a bad and douchey kind of tone deaf sounding response to just do that. You have to address this. You can't ignore it. You're going to look worse if you do. So this time around, you would think at some point there's going to be a Q&A or whatnot, and hopefully they've told Triple H what to say. And he might have to say something about legally he can't speak or whatever, but there's a lot of corporate officers named in that lawsuit as well. And we don't know if Triple H is one of them. I don't know if Triple H knows that he's one of them. But I think a lot of those corporate officers probably know if it's them. You know what I mean? If they're reading the lawsuit, and if Janelle Grant is telling the truth, and they're reading this and they're like, oh, fuck, that was me. I'm number 2. Or shit, he did do that, didn't he? Yep. Oh, fuck. I'm corporate officer number 4. Or others, we're really well aware of it and know that they could get named in this thing if it came down to that. So we don't know. It's a lot of uncertainty behind the scenes there. And hopefully on Thursday, they offer responses to these questions that at least make it appear that they are taking this seriously, because that did not fly at the Rumble. And HBK, Sean did a pretty good job on his media call, I thought, anyway. Did way better than Triple H did. Brian Spencer, Brian Spencer says WWE should have came up with a better distraction attempt. They don't need to come up with any distraction attempt. There's no distracting away from this. They're going to continue with creative and whatnot and WrestleMania plans, but you can only distract so much, because it's going to be who knows how long this process is going to take, from just more stuff coming out to Vince McMahon perhaps being criminally charged, to more women getting involved, and, indictments and trials and juries and all of that, and convictions and sentencings, that whole fucking process. We could be 5 years, man. Or it could be quicker than that. I don't know. But you can only just distract so much. I think WWE even would probably like just to get the whole thing behind him as quickly as possible, even if it means Vince facing his consequences and all the shit that's going to happen there. John Laurinaitis has now turned on Vince, so he's having a lot of people going to be turning against him and rolling over on him and ratting him out or whatnot, and, maybe exchange for, lighter penalties. I don't know. But it's a mess. It's a mess, and it's not going away. And teasing us or making us mad and think that they're not going to give Cody his Mania match against Roman is only going to be a 2-day distraction at best, because there's no way that you can ignore the insanity that's going on with that Vince McMahon lawsuit. So anyway, I think that is it for tonight. I want to thank you guys for being here again. It was another fun stream. Make sure you subscribe if you are not yet already. Thumbs up button on the way out the door would be appreciative. I will probably have something up on the channel this week, mic drops or something, or we might have some more news and you get me on an early stream depending on what we hear. And I will try to get up here as quickly as possible on Thursday for some comments on the WrestleMania press conference in Las Vegas. I don't think I'm going to be able to come up right after it's over, because based on the time that it airs, I think I'm going to be working. So I will either come up very, very late on Thursday night, or we will do a live stream Friday afternoon. I'll figure that out and get back to you guys. And thank you very much. One more from Mike. Thanks for the $2. Imagine if they see texts from Trump in the phone. Well, who knows? Vince McMahon had so many friends. He could have texted anybody. Probably texted Chris Jericho for all we know. It's the salaciousness that's in those text messages, and they're probably focusing mostly on the text that he sent to women, but they should check everything, and I think that they did. All right, guys, have a good one. Thanks again for everything, and I'll catch you in just a couple of days. Peace.